buy drinks. Run up a check and it's pending. She fucking my.
Alright guys, we're gonna be back here with another YouTube video. Now I posted one today, so this video might go up tomorrow. I'm recording this the same day I uploaded the other video. But yeah, today we're gonna be recording 10 unique borders around the world. You know, I like looking at stuff around the world and stuff, so alright, let's go ahead and get into it then.
The world is a segregated place with strict borders between countries so that we know where is where. But some of these borders aren't as simple as a mere straight line. From a border that cuts through a mountain to a town where you need a passport to cross the road, these are unique borders you will regret if you don't see. Let's begin. Number 10. Indonesia and Malaysia. The border between the Southeast Asian countries of Malaysia and Indonesia consists of both a land and a sea border, separating the two countries' territories on the island of Borneo, as well as maritime boundaries along the length of the Straits of Malacca. Essentially, you're getting two borders for the price of one. One land, one sea. On land, the ground beneath your feet is even a different color depending on which side of the border you're on. It's pretty strange, but nothing compared to what's coming up. Number 9. Korean Demilitarized Zone. The Korean DMZ is a strip of land about 160 miles long and 2.5 miles wide, dividing North and South Korea. So brace yourself. It's about to get heavier than Dwayne Johnson wearing a suit of armor. This border isn't just militarized, it's the most heavily militarized border in the world. But out of this fear and aggression, something oddly beautiful has happened, like a gorgeous rose sprouting out of Thanos' armpit. Let us explain. Because the divide is so heavily guarded, almost nobody enters it. With so few human feet stampeding their way through, it has inadvertently created a nature preserve. A number of highly endangered species have taken up residence there, and there are indications that some of them may even be increasing in population. Out of hostility, new nature is prospering. The DMZ is also notable in that it does not delineate a border per se, rather it...
Oh man, not the ad.
Now that we've helped
Oh, why the ad going on though? If I'm not wrong, I think that's the border, North Korea and South Korea border, where they just stand there and just look at each other the whole time. And they said something like if they flint to something off the wrong impression to the other side, it's automatically open fire. But I'm not sure about that. But yeah, that's just what I heard though. But I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that one though.
Demarcation line, or MDL. A border between the two Koreas cannot be formally agreed upon, as the two nations are technically still at war. But in the tiny gap between the warring lands, there is a hopeful cluster of new life. Something beautiful trapped in the middle of something awful. Number 8. Derby Line, Vermont. Sometimes borders ripple through roads, oceans, or even mountains. More on that later. But in the case of Vermont, the border strikes right through a town. It's such a part of the town's identity, they've even incorporated line into the name. This is the quaint little town of Derby Line, and it perfectly straddles the US-Canada border. 1 minute you're in the US, but then a quick pop to the shops and you're in Canada. Imagine. Hey mom, I'm just popping to Canada for some milk. Back in the day, this used to not be a problem, but since about 2008, border control has gotten strict. The locals have to have a passport on them at all times just to cross the road. One building was even constructed on the border itself, the Haskell Free Library and Opera House. This facility was deliberately built slap bang on the border. Why? For the gimmick, mostly. The opera stage is in Canada, but all of the seats are in the US. How crazy is that? You're
So I walk into that joint, right? I'm near the stage area. I need my passport to go to my seat. Yo, that's some weird stuff. Yo, that's weird. Like, who designed that? Who just said, I'm gonna drop it right in the middle of the border, so the joint could be in two different places? Like, yo, that would be cool though. Like, you just sitting there, like, oh, in the U.S., oh, in Canada, oh, in the U.S. Like, but how would that work? Like, say you gotta put down where you live at. which one would you put? Like, say your house is right in the middle. Which one would you put, though? Like, would it be Canada or the U.S.? You're right in the middle, both of them. Oh, man, that would be like, that's a lot going on right there.
That in America, watching a show that's on in Canada. If you throw a tomato at a bad actor's head, that tomato's gonna need a passport. Number 7, Tumen River. The Tumen is a river, obviously, in northeastern Asia. In an area near the coast, on the border between Russia and North Korea, the Tumen snakes down between Russia and North Korea and is actually in Chinese territory. Thus, in this area, you can start off in North Korea, and just by walking north for less than half a mile, you'll pass through China and end up in Russia. Although, that might not be a good idea. It's a common place for North Koreans to attempt to defect, and for that reason, just like the Korean Demilitarized Zone, it is heavily patrolled by North Korean soldiers. Again, this is an area where intense security meets serene beauty. Though the gorgeous and winding river is a sight to behold, the presence of heavily armed soldiers somewhat sullies the view. The beautiful sound of trickling water is a touch less beautiful when it's mashed up with the heavy marching of army boots. Number 5, Cooch Behar District. The Cooch Behar District has a similarly confusing border to the last example on our list. An innocent game of hopscotch here will take you from one country into the next and back again. There are a number of patches of land which are Bangladeshi, but they are inside India. And you guessed it, the same applies in the other direction. This alone is strange enough, but it gets even weirder. The exclave known as Balapara Kangrabari is Indian, but is surrounded from all angles by Bangladeshi territory. Already confusing, but dialing it up an extra confusing notch, Balapara Kangrabari itself surrounds another, smaller patch of Indian land, Dahala Kangrabari. This makes it the only place in the entire world where not one, not two, but 3 exclaves of land are inside each other. So that's one Indian territory inside another Indian territory inside Bangladeshi land. It's the turducken of countries. Number 4, Mount Everest. Now, if this were a list of the world's tallest mountains, the presence of Mount Everest wouldn't shock you. But what, you may ask, is it doing on a countdown of unique borders? Well, while there are a lot of well-known facts about Mount Everest, it's the tallest mountain in the world, blah blah blah, what you may not know is that the border of China and Nepal passes right through the middle of the mountain, including the peak itself. If you live in Derby Line, there's literally nothing stopping you from bouncing between US and Canada whenever you fancy. But in this case, there's a literal mountain in the way. This means that not only is Mount Everest the tallest mountain in the world, it is also the tallest border. If you were to reach the very peak and straddle one leg on either side, not only would you be higher than a shocked giraffe's eyebrows, but you would be 50% in China and 50% in Nepal. Number 3, District of Columbia. The District of Columbia was originally a big diamond carved out of Maryland and Virginia. Due to its size, shape, and location, the border has some unusual features. When it was originally delineated, large stones were placed 1 mile apart around the entire district to define the border. 100 stones in all, since the original district was 10 miles long on each side. A few of the stones are missing today, but most are still present. There's one in Silver Spring, Maryland that marks the northernmost point of the district. The border is unusual in other ways as well. Eastern Avenue and Western Avenue form the northeast and northwest borders respectively. If you're walking on the sidewalk on the northern side of the street, you're in Maryland, the street itself is in the district, and the curb is the state line. Stores on one side of the street showing phone numbers in their windows will have one area code for Maryland on the north side of the street and a different area code for the district on the south side. Number 2, the Diomedes. The Diomedes are a pair of islands in the Bering Strait. Little Diomede, that's the smaller one, hosts the American city of Diomede with a population of 146. Big Diomede, that's the larger one, belongs to Russia and is uninhabited. The 2 islands are only about 2.5 miles apart. So far, so normal. Nothing particularly strange about there being 2 islands near each other. But this is where things get unique. The international date line passes between the Diomedes and also serves as the border between the United States and Russia. Thus, when residents on Little Diomede look across the strait at Big Diomede, they're not just looking at another country, they're looking into tomorrow. For example, when it's 9 a.m. on Saturday on Little Diomede, it's 6 a.m. on Sunday on Big Diomede. If that's not some Doctor Who level craziness right there, I don't know what is. It's like something out of a Kurt Vonnegut novel. Number 1. Egypt/Sudan. Bir Tawil is a plot of land about 795 square miles in size. It lies between Egypt and Sudan and was accidentally created in 1902 when the United Kingdom drew a different border from the one that was created in 1899. Sometimes when you're clumsy, you might smash a glass. Other times when you're clumsy, you completely change a country's border.
How do you accidentally change a border of a country? Like I was just sitting there drunk one day. I was just like, all right, this gonna be the border right here, and just wrote up some random stuff. And y'all came back next day like, oh dang, that's what we playing. Like how you did? Yeah, that's some weird stuff. I don't know how you messed that one up.
Oopsie. Depending on which version of the border you accept, a certain patch of land moves from Egypt to Sudan. This region has been dubbed Bir Tawil, and here's the thing about it. It's apparently a great big trash fire of a place. Egypt and Sudan constantly squabble over whether to adhere to the 1902 border or the 1899 border. But that's not because they both want more land, it's because neither of them want poor Bir Tawil. Egypt claims the 1899 border is correct as it gives Bir Tawil to Sudan. Sudan, conversely, claims the 1902 border, which gives Bir Tawil to Egypt. Bir Tawil is the ugly stepchild nobody wants. Both countries insist that it belongs to the other, like divorced parents insisting that the other one takes the kid for a day. But most interesting of all, this means that other than Antarctica, Bir Tawil is the only piece of land on the entire Earth that has never been claimed by any nation. Poor Bir Tawil, it only wants love. Which of these borders do you think is the most unique? Would you climb Everest just to straddle China and Nepal? And most importantly, if you could claim Bir Tawil as yours, would you? Also,
That Mount Everest joint though, that seemed cool though. Like, you know, in two different places, like it's half and half. With you between, man, that's a cool joint though, right there. I probably wouldn't travel there. I don't do heights. I ain't with that stuff. That's that weird stuff right there. Man, I was born on the ground. That's where I'm gonna stay, on the ground. Yeah. Alright. If y'all like the video, like it. If you love this channel, know, hit the subscribe button. Got any suggestions on any future videos, comment that down below. And I'll see y'all in the next video.